Hi everyone, again with Coach Sami Al Jamal in Jiu-Jitsu lessons. Hi Coach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ammar?
Fine, guide. Fine, Coach. Yani, I'm excited for that interview. Always when I interview you or we have some kind of conversation, we're gonna take out from the experience that you have from this big and the successful journey from your side.
Habibi, thank you so much. I think it's very nice for us to, since of the lockdowns and the corona, for us to learn jiu-jitsu and get some experience and learn maybe one of the ways of how to deal with jiu-jitsu students and the school and the business itself. I think it's very important for people to take the opportunity to sharpen their skills and learn more about how to run a business or how to run a jiu-jitsu school, how to have students, because eventually uh, when you get the black belt, at one point you might be an instructor or you might live out of jiu-jitsu. So it's important to know how to deal with it and try to make the least amount of mistakes as possible.
That's awesome, Coach. Our episode today is about the philosophy out of the build promotions for kids and adults. I'm sure that in your journey face a lot of complaints, let's say it, or sometimes suggestions from students, and sometimes uh, some fighters get mad or why I'm not getting the belts while I'm winning. We want to understand that philosophy from your side and have this nice conversation between us, just to educate, as you said, the guys behind all those guys behind the jiu-jitsu. What's the philosophy? Why sometimes the student he can't understand the coach point of view from the build promotions and how to deal with the kids and the adults.
That's a very good point. And let me explain to you a little bit of the history of Jiu-Jitsu for us to understand how we arrived at this point of Jiu-Jitsu. So Jiu-Jitsu when it was martial arts that was for war or for something that your life depended on it. Basically, they just had a belt around them, and as the belt became old or dirty, the teacher would give them the black belt. So there wasn't easy. Yani, it might take you 10 years, it might take you a lifetime, it might take you 5, 6 years. So the IBJJF came up with the belt system, okay? And it's important to know that our Grandmaster Osvaldo Alves was part of the board that decided the belt system and how long they would take.
Now let's jump for the complicated part of jiu-jitsu, dealing with an adult's white belt thinking himself is is a black belt. What the philosophy uh, and Coach Sami Al Jamal for the belt graduation from white to blue, the other belts. Let's take it step by step, if you don't mind, Coach, from white and blue. In my point of view, I don't know that the things in my mind. A blue belt is a white belt, but he trained like for a long time. So as a coach, if the white belt he is 70 or 80 or it depends on the person himself. Sometimes I motivate the guys to give a white belt, a blue belt, sorry. Not like I consider the white belt is a blue belt, but training for a long for much more time than the white belt. What do you think, Coach?
I think things are changing. The world is changing. There's more competitions. There's more people in shape. You know, like in the past, masters basically have to be training. You go to the competition and you win. You know, you just have to be okay training and you win. Nowadays, the masters they look more in shape than the kids. You know,
Yep.
so everything and some masters even fight in the adults and they do well in some tournaments. So the times are changing. Okay, so I'm going to try to simplify it as much as possible. Okay, first the IBJJF has some minimum time, not maximum time in a belt, which is a problem when somebody stays a long time in a belt. So each belt from white to blue, blue to purple, each one has their minimum time. So that minimum time, if you want to compete in the IBJJF, you have to go through it. There's no other way out. Okay, now you have the people that are willing and want to compete and they're young, and the people that don't want to compete. There's people that are in jiu-jitsu that are over 30 years old and they have a family, they have a house, they have a business, and the people that are under 30 years old. Each one of these people have a different criteria to get a belt. But all of them have a very close time to get the belt, you know. So the criteria for me of a blue belt, when do I see that? First, the three criteria that I think are important. First is attendance. The person is consistent in his attendance, he is eligible to go to the next step. So the next step is actually his posture as a human being and as a fighter in regards of respect and in regards of being a student. So he passed that criteria. Now the third criteria is the way he moves, just the way he moves in the mats. Okay, so after having these three criteria, and I feel like he moves right, he has the time of the IBJJF, and he's training consistently, and he doesn't miss classes. Now is his time to change belts. And also I see how he trains with the blue belts in the gym that are basically close to his age and close to his weight class, to see how well he does, to see if he's going to deserve. Because if you give the belt too soon and the guy gets a blue belt and starts getting tapped out by white belts, that's going to be bad for him. But if I take it too long, it also might be something that, well, these guys are getting and I'm not getting, you know what, it's not fair, I want to stop this sport. So you have to know the right time to give for them based on these four things.
So that there is no limit time white to blue. There is in IBJJF rules, there is no minimum time for white to blue. It depends on the coach, but as a coach you have to do the job perfectly to see if he as all these three criteria, if he meet all these criteria, so that he can get it within 8, 9 months, 1 year, 1.5 years. This three criteria, it's implemented on the purple, blue to purple, purple to brown, brown to black.
No, each coach has their own criteria, but for example, from blue. So here, blue belt, white to blue, you started to learn jiu-jitsu, started to understand jiu-jitsu, starting to apply the positions, you're starting to submit people, actually trying a position. So that's why the white to blue. The blue to purple, now your body is just better of doing the moves and doing jiu-jitsu in a more effective way. And you can tell that you can defend which is very important. Now you can defend yourself in the street, because at the end of the day, it's a martial arts. So a blue to purple belt, he basically can defend himself against anybody in the street. And he has the beginning of a game in jiu-jitsu, the beginning of knowledge, and he has more complex games. He doesn't just go for a choke. He goes for a complex armbar, then he goes for a choke, and doesn't work, he sweeps you. He starts like having a complex game. From purple to brown, now you should be an athlete, a very good athlete, because you have to do the things in jiu-jitsu that you do in jiu-jitsu that are important. You have to be strong. You have to be able to if you're a competitor, from purple to brown, should be able to beat brown belts in your gym, should be able to beat black belts in your gym, if you want to be a competitor. If you don't want to be a competitor, that's okay. I'm talking about the young kids. And you should now understand where your game is going in jiu-jitsu and how to develop your game in jiu-jitsu. Okay, because once you get to the brown and the black belt, okay, brown and black belt are very close to each other. basically the things that are added to it are the leg locks and the foot locks into it. So you should have a good idea of what your game is going to be in jiu-jitsu, and you should use the purple belt and the brown belt to develop your game. So when you arrive on the black belt, you have a game, and then you understand that you don't know anything about jiu-jitsu yet. You just understand that you got the black belt, and you're gonna have to start all over again.
All over again, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
coach. And also in the graduation, as you said, the criterias we have to differentiate if this guy is a competitor. So, for example, I have two guys, two blue fighters. One of them is a competitor. One of them is 30 something years old. He has a family. He has a job. He cannot go to the competition, or he doesn't have that time. But he's in love with jiu-jitsu. So in the graduation and the next belt, and the purple belt, sometimes you'll keep that fighter a long time because you want him to enjoy the fighting experience and to be at the top of the blue belt fighter category before he goes to the next stage, which is a purple. While the guy, or the guy, he has a blue belt, he has a family guy, he is not in a competition, so that this guy, when he reached the minimum, which is 2 years, after 2 or 2.5, so that he is eligible to have the next belt as a purple belt. While for your point as a coach, the guy, he's a fighter still, you want to put him one more year in a blue belt, so that to enjoy and to go for the next stage, he is not like at the bottom of the purple. He is somewhere he can apply his technique, and he can enjoy the next journey.
Yeah. So, for example, like a blue belt that wants to be a competitor, and he wants to be in the top of the world, he has to do the same thing that the top fighters in the world are doing, which is spending 6 hours on the mat, doing conditioning, working on his nutrition, and working on his game in jiu-jitsu. So this guy, he needs a lot more time, and he has a lot of more time to invest in jiu-jitsu than the guy that's a businessman, a family man, and is just going there for the journey of jiu-jitsu to improve his life and to learn a self-defense martial arts in the process. So they're gonna get the same belt, okay? The blue belt, they're gonna get the same belt, but they have completely different objectives. So the guy that's gonna be a competitor, I have to do the same thing that competitors around the world are doing, you know. And the guy that did his minimum and he's ready for it, he's gonna do. Probably when they train in the gym, the guy that's still a white belt can beat the blue belt, and the blue belt understands that is the case because that guy trains every day and he wants to be a competitor, and he's competing against the best in the world in each belt category that he's in. So you have to weigh differently a guy that's a competitor and a guy that's not a competitor, because it's not fair to the competitor for me to give him a belt and then he goes there and he fights a blue belt that has been there for 6 years. Because again, we don't have a maximum. You only have a minimum. So the guy has been there. I give you a blue belt after 2 years, and you go compete against a guy that has been training jiu-jitsu for 6-8 years. That's not fair.
So that if let's have the same conversation between the fighter, maybe you will keep him for minimum 3.5 years, but the other guy, maybe he will get the next belt, which is purple, and maybe in 2.5, so that he will get the belt before the guy who you want to be a fighter and a high level fighter.
Yeah, of course. And this guy did the minimum requirements. This guy did the minimum requirements, but the objective of the guy that's a competitor is to win. So once, for example, that guy wins a major competition, let's say that he won Abu Dhabi Pro, he won the World Pro, he won the Europeans at that belt, then is the time for him to change belts. So what gives him the measurement of changing belts is his performance in the competition.
So this is a message for the jiu-jitsu fighters. They want to be a competitor. They have to be patient and understand the concept why your coach delay your promotion, while the others, the normal guys, maybe they are getting the belt before you because of you, because the objective that you have in your mind and the objective that the coach saw on you and you tell your coach.
Yeah, and if you're like a Rodolfo Vieira that won everything in purple, then got a brown right away, and then won everything in brown, got a black, and won everything in black, you might do all this in less than a year.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're not and you want to be a competitor, you have to do the same thing that other competitors are doing. And there's a lot of good cases around the world that people only shined after a long period of time on the lower belts. You know what I mean? Like Roger Gracie shined on the black belt, and to me, he's the best of all time.
Exactly.
You know, other people that you never heard of them, they shined on the black belt because they took the time on the other belts and they were not ready to get to the black belt. So sometimes, and you have to remember that a competitor, when he reaches the black belt, he's going to be fighting with people that have been there for 4 or 5 years in the black belt, and when he's a new black belt. So it ends the funneling. Everything goes like this when you reach the black belt. So he has to be ready.
Yeah. Perfect. Well said, coach. Another things I want to just your opinion of it. Some of the academies, like they keep their students, like, for example, 3 or 4 years in a white belt, 5 years in a blue belt. And you know, they took their time and they exceed the time logically or ethically should be his fighter promoted just for the academy or for the fighter to have more medals in a blue belt while his level, and he reached the ethically time to go for the next stage, which is purple, for example.
Yeah, that's a very, very fine line. When I say to hold the person on the belt, you have to hold them in the belt, and you as a coach, you have to make a decision. So let's say that guy is a competitor and he's doing second place, third place, or got unlucky on the fight, and you keep holding him. If you hold him too much, he's going to lose the motivation, and the holding is going to go against him. So at that time, if he filled up all the requirements, it's a time for him to actually get the belt to push him. Like Fabricio used to say, and Meji used to say the same thing. Now I'm giving you the belt, so you are at the same level that you have to push yourself to the level of the belt. So now you're a little bit behind. You have to push yourself. Sometimes you're a little bit forward, and I hold you. So it's different time frames that only the coach can know.
Yeah, and also there's a message, I don't know, for the coaches and the fighters. If you are a brown belt or a black belt or a purple belt, and you stopped yourself from graduation just to take a medals, which is between yourself and yourself and the coach, you are in a higher level. Medals is nothing. If I'm a black belt now, I bought a blue belt in a competition, no one knows me, and I have a medal. I think when he goes home and they look at the mirror, the conversation is gonna have even between myself and my conscious mind. I'm not in this stage, so that this medal is nothing because my level and I'm higher than this level, because I'm seeing this now in, let's say, in Arab worlds, or the people that are living in Arab worlds. He's a purple belt, and sometimes he goes fighting in a strange tournament as a blue belt, or a brown fighting as a blue or purple. The medals you're gonna get in this tournament is, I wanna find a nice word. It's nothing. What you are insulting yourself. You are insulting the jiu-jitsu. You are insulting your coach, because this medal, it shouldn't be yours.
Yeah, first of all, the coach is going to know, and the coach is the first one that should not allow that to happen, because what you're doing is you're undermining the coach's ability and decision of your belt. So that's something that the number one, the coach should not allow that to happen, even if he's going to lose that kid and the kid doesn't want to stay with him anymore and he's going to move schools. You cannot sell yourself as a coach and accept that, and something very important, because it's gonna mess up your whole system. Because once one person does it, you have to allow everybody else to do it, no matter what the excuse is. Second, and most important, okay, you won, but there's a huge, because you're doing this also, there's a huge chance you might lose. So imagine I went there and I put a lower belt and I lost the fight. What does that tell me about myself? Not only I'm not worth the belt that I was in, I'm not worth the belt that I went down.
Yeah.
And I know a case like this of somebody that was a friend of mine. He said he wanted to go back to competition. So he says, look, man, I got my black belt. I didn't really compete in my black belt. That's the excuse that he had. And it's been 3 or 4 years that I haven't trained jiu-jitsu. I want to go into the brown belt.
Wow.
And fight on the brown belt division. I said, man, it's crazy. You go on the black belt, takul gatla, and lose it, but don't do the brown belt. I said, what if you lose it? Oh, no, I'm not going to lose. I'm big, I'm strong. And he went in, like the way you train in the gym is not the same way you compete. So
Yeah,
he lost the first fight really badly and got injured.
Wow.
So what did he do?
Nothing. He lost.
He was a black belt. Look at the scenario. He was a black belt, lost the tournament as a brown belt, got injured, and quit jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I was expecting this. He will quit jiu-jitsu.
So, is there anything worse in the world than for you to reach the level of a black belt, go in as a brown belt, lose the fight, and quit your journey in jiu-jitsu as a losing brown belt in a tournament? So it's a very delicate situation. People should never do it. And nowadays you have blue belts winning world championships that can probably win and do well in the brown belt division. And you have purple belts that can win maybe in the black belt division. So belt is not really a measurement nowadays, because jiu-jitsu is growing so fast that and you see guys in the ADCC as blue belts reaching the final. So,
exactly, and also this world, the world championship, the one you fought in last year in November in Abu Dhabi, we saw like a blue belt beating a black belt, because there is no belt system, only blue. You put blue, and the other guy you put red. If he's from other country, you can't recognize. If he's a black, you will not know. So that the fairness is nothing. It's about okay.
And you might get a blue belt that was a black belt in judo, very strong, that might create a big problem for your jiu-jitsu, So you should honor your belt, and if you don't think you're up to it, you make sure that you're up to it. It's your own responsibility.
Okay, well said, coach. Another subject is I want to just open. Maybe this we felt it like 5 or 6 years ago, when the jiu-jitsu grow in the Middle East, and there's a lot of competitions in Abu Dhabi, especially. A lot of guys from judo background or from wrestling background, especially if they allow me from Russia or all these countries before under Russia, they are black belt or sumo fighters, world champion sumo or wrestling, and they go fight in the white category.
I think this is one of the most dangerous things that can possibly happen. Somebody can actually die on a tournament like this. I was on the warm-up area in the World Pro, waiting for my fight, and I see a guy. You can tell that the guy lost, maybe he knows how to cut weight. He probably lost like 10 kilos, 15 kilos. The hands all destroyed from years and years of sambo fighting. The ears completely destroyed, two cauliflower ears like this. The face destroyed, like you can tell the guy is an MMA fighter wearing a white belt. A guy like this, if he fights against a white belt that's a true white belt, he can kill him with a takedown, can break his neck. So, nowadays the UAJJF now made a rule that anybody that has sambo, wrestling, and judo they should automatically go into the blue belt. And I actually saw one of the organizers in the UAJJIF coming in. They checked on Facebook their profiles, and he took like 6 or 7 people out of the tournament. And I thought that was amazing.
To be honest, coach, my point of view is all those professional fighters, came from judo or from wrestling, and still they're fighting. They're active fighters in sambo or wrestling. I think they should go to the purple belt division, because there where I think they're gonna have a hassle and difficulty. Still, blue belt for them is an easy. Like if you go to the world champion in judo or wrestling, they knows what they are doing very well, and it will be maybe a vice versa problem. Maybe this guy, a white belt or a blue belt, training for 2 years, or especially for the white belt, he's training for 6 months, and you put him as a coach in a competition to build his confidence, to have an experience, which is different than training at the gym and facing a high level martial artist from another martial art. Maybe he will quit. He will not come back to jiu-jitsu anymore.
Yeah, quit is the best option. He might get hurt.
yeah. But I think this is a message for the fighters. They are coming from other martial arts background. Don't go to the white belt. Don't. If you are a black belt in judo, or black belt in, I don't know, if wrestling that doesn't have belt, high level wrestler, sambo, man, it's shame. It's the same as you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu and fighting in a blue belt, in a white belt or a blue belt category. So that you have to have, this is a self-respect between yourself and yourself. It's worse than nothing to have a jiu-jitsu medal while you are a high level another martial artist. I want to say an example. One of the ladies, she's a black belt in judo, coach. She came to train at my gym, and she stopped for like 3 years. She told me, I'm coach, I'm doing nothing in judo for 3 years. I want to fight in a competition after 6 months or 3 months it was in a white belt category. To be honest, I told her, no, I cannot put you in a white belt category. I don't care about medals. I want you have to fight in a blue belt. If I put you in a white belt, I'm sure you're gonna win the white belt, but the medals you're gonna bring, I'm not gonna be proud of it, because it's not a real medal. It's a fake medal. I put her in a blue belt. She lost because she's not training like for maybe 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But after 6 months, she won a medal in a blue belt. I think that should be fair, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair, of course. And you put herself to the challenge. That's a real challenge, getting a medal in the white belt with that much experience in judo is not something that is going to make her, as a fighter, a better fighter. What's going to make her is going to make her know that she got a medal, that she's going to get that high of getting the medal, going to the podium, but that's going to last one day. But the experience that she got by losing in the blue belt is going to last her a lifetime, and it showed it in the next tournament that she won. So that's a much more important lesson to her as a competitor, and a lesson to her for life.
Well said, coach. And so this is a message also for the students, for the fighters in jiu-jitsu. Don't ask your coach when I'm gonna get, I want this belt, or believe that you deserve a blue belt, and you tell your coach, I have to be blue, or I have to be purple, or I have to be brown. I think with the experience that your coach making your coach a confidence. He knows exactly when you gonna be awarded for the next belt.
Yeah, and I think that line should never be crossed by any student, and any student that crosses that line with me, you know what I do? I take the keys of the gym and I give it to him. Say, here, take the key of the gym, and you manage the gym, since you already know who has to get the belts. I don't let anybody cross that line. Never let anybody cross that line. And I tell people, whatever you know when you think about jiu-jitsu, it's exactly the stage that you are in. You don't know any better. Whatever you think that you understand, as a belt promotion is at the level that you are right now. So don't think of any belt or anything, because that's actually bringing you backwards. Because the moment that you're thinking about your belt, you can only compare yourself to others. And if you're doing that, you're not actually trying to be the best person you are. You're just trying to be better than anybody next to you. And that's not a measurement tool. Because when you're going to fight, you're going to fight people that you don't know.
Well said, Coach. I also another thing, maybe most of, because we have in the Middle East, we don't have a lot of black belts. We have a few, so that this is a message for all those fighters and white, blue, purple, brown. When you are a black belt, you think that you reach the top of the pyramids, while exactly you reach the new stage that you are a white belt in a black belt category.
Yeah, that's funny stuff.
Yeah, that's funny, coach. When before you train, oh, I'm gonna train just to reach the black belt. It's like a life. I want this target. When you reach this target, then another target will come. So the black belt, when I was a white belt, I want the black. When I reach purple, brown, it's the time that all my effort I did in jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna now relax. Unfortunately, you will not be relaxed. You will now try to fight, as Coach Sami said, a black belt. Maybe he's a 6 or 7 years a black belt, so that you are still a white belt in a black belt category.
I have a very funny analogy to this,
Tell us,
which
Coach.
I like. So basically, when you reach the black belt, okay, you wanted to reach the black belt, thinking that once you reach the black belt, all the questions that you had, you're gonna have the answers. Because I'm a black belt, I have all the answers for all the questions. So I say that when you reach the black belt, you get the black belt book. Says, what's the black belt book? I said, when you open that black belt book, you realize that there's nothing written in it.
Yeah.
Everything that's inside that book, you're gonna write. So you're gonna start writing a book from page 1 until the end of your life. That's the black belt book.
I love it, Coach. Well said.
And every time somebody comes when they get the black belt from me, I say, you got the black belt book. So what's the black belt book? They're gonna open it and there's nothing written in it. You're gonna write it on your own.
Write it by yourself.
Write it by yourself, because it's an empty book with white pages.
Yeah, and Coach, also a message for the fighters. Each belt it has its own responsibility. When you are a blue, when you're a white, when you take the blue, it gives you it comes with a confidence, extra responsibilities also for the fighters, because now you are a role model for the new white belts. They put their mind, they put their level that they want to reach you. Then when you are a purple, you are the role model for the new blue. So that each belt it comes with a confidence that let you use techniques, your own technique, your own jiu-jitsu skills in a relaxation mood, so that you understand what you're doing. There is a 3 steps plan you have to do, or 4 or 5. It's not anymore a jungle fight. And also extra responsibilities. In your academy, you have the guys that are lower than you. You have the kids, which maybe one of those kids is looking for you as a role model. He likes your style. He likes your kimono color. He likes your maybe your body fit. So that each belt it comes with responsibility. What do you think, Coach?
Yeah, of course, man. Each belt comes with a responsibility, and people have to understand the higher their belts, the closer they're getting to you as a coach, and the more responsibility they have to take, because a coach cannot handle all the responsibilities on the gym. No coach in the world can handle all the responsibilities on the gym. And people have to understand that the more you give to the gym, the more the gym is going to give back to you. And the more you spend time in the gym helping, the more you're going to get back from it, because you learn from kids, you learn from people that are on the mats, and the time that you're on the mats. So as your belts grow, your responsibility grows. It's not like your rights grow. It's different. Your rights comes with because you have responsibilities, you're gonna get the rights. Because you're getting more responsibilities, you're gonna get more rights. And Jiu-Jitsu is the nicest thing in the world. You earn the respect only by the time that you're on the mats. You know, you can be the best guy on Facebook or Instagram talking about Jiu-Jitsu. People will not respect you. They're gonna respect when you're sitting there sweating and training with them and giving. And anybody can give. I can be a blue belt and give so much to a white belt, although I don't have the knowledge, and I'm giving it to my coach also, which means that I'm going to receive. So it's also, it's a balancing deal. It's not like the more I get higher, the more you have to give me attention and the more you have to give it to me, either the Arab way. What we want is the more you get higher, the more you have to give it to the school so the school can survive and do their work better for you to get better. You know, it's like that it's not what your country can do for you, is what you can do for your country. That is a very important. It's not what the gym can do for you, is what you can do for the gym. That's going to make you a better fighter. That's going to give you more.
Well said, coach. So the things now for the fighters, wait for the coach to promote you on the right time. Be humble, because each belt, it has as I said and Coach Sami said, the responsibilities. Also a message for the martial artists from other fights, from other martial arts. No need. It means nothing for you if you are a black belt in another martial art to fight in a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu, and you will gain zero respect. Trust me, from all the martial or the martial arts lifestyle. Also for the Jiu-Jitsu fighter, respect your coach, respect the new guys. Each belt has responsibility, and I think from my side, this is the last things I have. I don't know, Coach Sami, if you have any message about the belts system in adults.
Well, this was supposed to be a very short podcast. It ended up having a lot of things to talk about belts. I think maybe it would be nice for us to leave questions for people. Maybe we can answer more specifically questions that they have. I'm sure they have a lot of questions, and I'm sure they have coaches that have a lot of questions in the future. It might sound cliche, but a belt just covers like 5 centimeters of your waist. The rest is up to you, you know? The rest is up to you, and you gotta, one thing that people don't understand, you either trust or you don't trust your coach. You either trust his process or you don't trust. Don't stay always in questioning it. Just believe it. If you don't like it, leave, go to a different gym, go to a different coach. But if you like it, you gotta believe and accept it so you can learn. You have to focus more on the learning process than actually the questioning of the person that's teaching you.
Well said, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Thanks for this information, and I promise you guys, we're gonna have this continuous podcast about Jiu-Jitsu style, and wait us for the next. And I'm gonna share my social media account and Coach Sami's social media account for any questions. Thank you, guys.